Hey guys, it's Ashley and welcome to my reading vlog for The Kane Chronicles by Rick Riordan. I know that so many of you have been waiting and waiting and waiting for me to finally read this series, and I am here to tell you that I have officially started it. Before we get into any of my thoughts on the first 60 pages, because I think that's how far I've gotten into it so far, I do want to point out here that this reading vlog, like all the others that are about specific books, are going to be sort of a blend of a vlog and a book talk. So I will be getting into some spoilers, but I will make sure to put a book cover in one of these corners here that will let you know when I'm about to talk about something spoilery. So if you don't want to be spoiled, you can just mute and then turn it back on when the cover goes away. So like I said, I'm on page 62 of this book right now, and did you guys know that this paperback is over 500 pages long? Because I didn't realize that until I started reading. That just feels insane to me because the Percy Jackson books are no longer than like 300-ish pages. So she's a long book. But so far, I'm really liking it. I definitely think that I've read this whole entire book before, because the more that I'm reading it, the more that's coming back to me in like bits and pieces, and the more that I think I know what happens at the very end of this one, but I'm not going to say anything just in case I get it wrong, just in case maybe I didn't read all the way through. And basically all that I know so far is that we've got estranged siblings, Carter and Sadie, and Carter's been with his dad. Their mom is no longer around. Carter and the dad came to London to visit the sister, then they went to the British History Museum, then they blew up the museum, then they were labeled as terrorists, and then they had to flee to New York with their uncle who got them there in under like 5 minutes on a crazy fast boat, and now they're in the 21st gnome. Is that what it's called? The 21st gnome in a house, in a mansion. That's what I got so far. I stopped right before I felt like they were going to start explaining a lot of the stuff in this world so that I wouldn't have so much to talk about in this first intro part of this vlog. But I do want to point out that I don't actually know if Carter and Sadie are like children of gods, or if they're just like in this world, or if maybe like the father and the I'm confused. We will definitely find out sometime in this 500-page book. Also, I really liked that little like tidbit that was thrown in there about how like, oh, Manhattan is close by, and Amos was like, we don't want to go to Manhattan. They have to deal with their other gods. I know that there's been some crossover between the Kane Chronicles and the Percy Jackson series from what I personally know and from what other people have told me. I just never got to the second book, so now is my chance. I'm back and I made mac and cheese. So I've gotten significantly farther in this book. I'm on page 160 now, so I've read 100 pages since I last talked to you. A lot is happening in this book, but at the same time, it's like a lot of info dumping. So they're like trying to learn about this stuff themselves, but because of that, they're bouncing back and forth with one another, Sadie and Carter, I mean, and it's just a bunch of info dump as you're like learning about Egyptian mythology and like all of the gods and stuff like that. But it doesn't feel like info dump because you don't know any of this information, so it's like really intriguing to learn about because it's actual like real stuff. That's where I'm at. Right now, they just got to Cairo, I think, and they're underground in the tunnels and they're about to meet some guy. Also, I think I found out that they're related to the pharaohs, or whatever the guy is that they keep referencing, and they keep saying, oh my god, it looks just like dad. I guess they're not like children of the gods, they're children of the pharaohs who have magic? I don't fucking know. Yes, it is August, and it is still summertime in Florida. Yes, I am also wearing a sweatshirt to make myself believe that it's fall. And yes, I did start burning this vanilla bean scented candle a while ago to make myself believe that it's fall already. How did you know? This is super unrelated to this vlog because it has nothing to do with reading or the Kane Chronicles, but I thought I would share because it was just like this thing that happened that I needed to tell somebody about other than my sister. So she and my dog were outside and there was a baby squirrel on the ground. And in the area that we live in, this is not uncommon. We get like baby animals all the time who have like fallen out of the nest or something's gotten to them or something like that. So I Googled how to take care of a baby squirrel. And I found that somebody said, put it in a box and put it in the tree that it fell out of. This is my makeshift box there that I nailed into the tree, because it's a palm tree, obviously, and it has no branches. So I literally nailed the box into the tree. And I don't know if you're gonna be able to see this. I'm gonna try to get footage of it, but maybe you can see it, but it's like right there. right in that corner there. There's always squirrels in this tree. There always have been for years. So I'm really hoping that this is the right tree. So we'll see what happens. This will be an updating event on this vlog. Not only do you get Kane Chronicles and Egyptian mythology information, you also get updates on the tiny squirrel in our yard. Sadie and Carter might be saving the world, but I'm saving the squirrels. So while I'm outside with my dog, let me give you a little update. I'm currently on page 234 and it's really good so far. Something that I really like is that they are not apparently children of gods, but they are hosting the gods. The gods are like sort of kind of not really possessing them in a way. It's like they got a god inside of them who can like talk to them and they can use their powers. So it's not necessarily that they're like descendants, but they're like working together, I guess, which I kind of like. As much as like Chosen One stories are overdone, I absolutely love them just because it's so fun to watch other characters who have like been in this world for so long just be so shocked and so like in awe by the power that the Chosen Ones have all of a sudden. It's so fun. That's my favorite part. I don't know why this has always stuck with me, but I remember when I was little watching Cartoon Network, I think it was Cartoon Network, Ben 10, the show, if you ever watched that, and I just remember the entire time like wanting so bad for all of the people who bullied him, for them to find out like he was the one who was like turning into these weird monster things. That's how I feel whenever I read one of these kind of books. Anyway, so yeah, I like where it's going. I also really like that we're in so many different places. Like we started off in London and then we went to New York and then we went to Egypt and now we're in Paris and it's just like, it's kind of like a romp around the world and I really like that. Also, while we're outside, I probably should give you an update on the squirrel that we found. So as you know, I put the baby squirrel in a box, nailed it to the tree, and this morning we woke up and the squirrel wasn't there. So either A, the mother finally came back and got the squirrel, or B, something ate the squirrel. And me, personally, I would like to believe it's the former. So we're just gonna like leave it at that. Okay, so I'm not sure when the last time that I updated you was, but I just finished the first book in the Kane Chronicles and I really liked it. I do have like one or two things that I want to add just because by the end of it I had some thoughts. I'm just gonna set the camera here so that I can talk with my hands. So the first thought that I had was that I was slightly like annoyed just a little bit about how like so many of the big moments where like the characters would have to step up to the plate and like prove other people wrong or like use the power that they didn't know that they had. A lot of those moments were Sadie's moments. And like, don't get me wrong, I freaking loved Sadie. Like I love Sadie so much. One of my favorite lines in this book was from Sadie and I even like marked the page because I needed to share it with you guys. It's the part where she goes to get the feather of truth and she's talking to Anubis, who is the cute boy, and she comes back with the feather and Carter's like, what's going on? Where are we? And she goes, he's horrible, self-important, sarcastic, incredibly hot, insufferable. Like, so funny. I love her so much. And she's only 12 in this book. She's 12 going on 13 and it's just like, I love her. I love how badass she is. But I felt bad for Carter sometimes because I feel like he didn't get as many of those big moments. He did have a good turnaround where like he trusted himself and he believed in himself. But I just wish that Carter had gotten some of the same moments that Sadie did. But I'm sure that in the next two books there will be more moments like that for him, so like I'm not too worried about it. I forgot to mention this in an earlier clip, so I'll put it here, but I really liked how it was told through like a voice recording. I thought that that was really fun because there were a lot of like side comments when like one would interrupt the other one. And then I really liked the author's note, which I didn't read all of, but I thought it was really funny that Rick Riordan was treating this as if he had found the voice recording and just transcribed it and published it. And then like is saying like, you know, if I get any more recordings from Sadie and Carter, I'll be sure to let you guys know, like that kind of thing. I thought that was so cute. So yeah, I really liked this story. It was a lot longer than I feel like it should have been, and I felt like it was taking me forever to read it. I'm eager to see where the rest of the story goes, and I'll get to them soon. Okay, so it's been about a week or maybe a few days, give or take. I honestly have not been keeping track of time, but I think I'm ready to start book 2, so let's go grab it. There we go. Oh, I forgot it was pink. This is so exciting. 60 pages later, I've been in this position for about an hour and a half now. So far, they have found out that the end of the world is happening in 4 days, and they have to awaken the god Ra in order to stop Apophis from breaking out of his cage and swallowing the world whole. But instead of doing any of that, Sadie's decided she's gonna go to London to celebrate her birthday and nobody can stop her, which, like, yes girl, you do you, like, stand up for yourself and what you want, but also the world's gonna end in 4 days, so maybe this isn't the smartest thing to do, but you know, it's already happening, so there's not much that I can say on that point. I also really love all of the little side characters that are popping in here, because at the end of the last book, they decided that they were going to start trying to train other, like, Blood of the Pharaoh children or whatever, to bulk up the House of Life, I guess, and work with the gods and, like, teach them the way of the gods so that they can fight Apophis and Chaos when that time comes or something. I don't know. It kind of reminds me a little bit more of, like, Camp Half-Blood in that way, because we've got, like, a couple of little side characters who are fun and kind of, like, add some pizzazz to the story. So I like that so far. Hello there. Anyway, I got through a good portion of this book last night. I did actually try to give you an update last night, but it was 11 o'clock at night and I was just really self-conscious talking to myself in the quiet of the house in my bedroom, so that didn't turn out very well. I'm just gonna repeat what I said in this portion of the vlog. At that point, when I made that update, I was at page 250. Now I'm at page 331. I really, like, flew through a good chunk of this book yesterday, and I'm so happy about it because I really just want to get to the third one to find out how it all ends. I said in the other clip that I'm gonna repeat here that I actually really enjoy the humor in this book in particular compared to the first book in the series. I don't know if it's just because I know the characters now and I know, like, the world and, like, the jokes and the inside humor and that kind of thing, but I really do enjoy this one. There was that one moment in this story where Sadie had just finished fighting off the gods in London and Carter shows up and, you know, threatens Bess or whatever, and Sadie jumps out of the car and she's like, "It took you long enough, get in." And then Carter says something like, "At this point, when my sister said that the dwarf god was going to drive us to Russia, I said, whatever, and I got in the car." Just the small things, you know? So yeah, the main thing that I wanted to talk about though was how confused I am by this book. It was going in a direction that I was, like, understanding, and then all of a sudden, like, the story with Menshikov, the Russian guy, just kind of, like, took a turn, and now I'm confused as to whether he's, like, good or bad or what's happening. Also, Walt and his storyline so far, I don't know what I was expecting, but it was not what's happened so far, and I really hope that it kind of, like, turns around either in this book or in the last book and that, like, everything will be okay. I'm not going to put that as a spoiler. I'm not going to spoil anything in this portion because early on you learn that there's something, like, off with Walt, and the whole book you're trying to figure out what the heck it is, but once you find it out, I will tell you, you won't like it. But that's why I'm hoping that there will be a turnaround, because I really do love him. I think he's such a sweetheart, and I want all of them to survive. We'll see what happens. Hopefully I can finish the last little chunk of it tonight and then get started on the third book before the month is over. Oh my god, wait, I forgot to mention something in that last clip. I forgot to mention that the part where the grandma and the grandpa get, like, possessed by the vulture goddess and the baboon god or whatever it was, that part, like, really had me worried. I'm, like, imagining my own grandma and grandpa being possessed by creepy demons and coming after me and being like, oh, will they survive? Won't they survive? Like, that really kind of, like, honestly terrified me a little bit. So that was good and honestly felt kind of dark for a middle grade story, kind of really scary. I remembered I was talking to you guys during the first book, I think, about how I love those stories where, you know, the main characters get to reveal their secrets to people who are, like, so unknowing of their lives and the things that they were doing, and that moment really came when Sadie had to, like, drag her friends into the whole fight with the gods in London and whatever, and her friends were like, what's happening? And Sadie was like, hold this, draw this circle, do this. And it was so funny. Oh my god, okay. So it's 12:20 at night. And I just finished book 2, and I have to say, that ending is pretty good. I want to put out there that I'm talking about like the ending of the recording that Sadie recorded, and not the fact that Walt is still dying and the world is gonna end, and that everybody still doesn't believe that the Kanes can save the world or that they're doing the right thing. Anyway, I digress. Let me read to you one of my favorite parts of all of these books that I've read so far. We don't have all the answers yet. We don't know when or where Apophis will strike. We don't know how to heal Ra or Bess or even Walt. We don't know what role Zia will play or if the gods can be trusted to help us. Most important, I'm completely torn between 2 amazing guys, one who's dying and another who's the god of death. What sort of choice is that, I ask you? Sadie is like hands down my favorite in this story. I'm kind of confused with Menshikov's like whole purpose in this story. Like, I get that he was supposed to be like releasing Apophis from his lair or whatever, but like he technically didn't want to do that by the end. He was just being controlled by Apophis, but like, was he being controlled by Apophis early on, or was this just in the end? Because early on, he like really had motive to like want to raise Apophis and like raise chaos and unleash it or whatever, but then by the end, it was like, no, I'm being controlled, I don't want to do this. So like, what is it really? Make up your mind, Menshikov. And I don't know if it's just me, but I guess now that the live action Aladdin movie has come out over the past few years, and I have the image of Will Smith as a giant blue man in my mind, just like burned there in my memory forever, that every time I read about Osiris and how he's like the father, but he's got blue skin and it's kind of weird and he's bald and he has a goatee, I think of Will Smith. Tell me I am not the only one now that I've said that. I know that these books came out well before that, but like, come on, there's something happening here. I also want to put out there again that I think Sadie had way too much responsibility in this story, and that Carter was only there to offer moral support and also to turn into a giant bird to fight people. I don't like it. I think that he needs to have a bigger part in the story. Like, can he be reading this stuff in the next book? So yeah, those are my parting thoughts with book 2. Still really loved it. Looking forward to reading the last one and finishing up the series and the vlog and finally being able to say, yes, I have read the Kane Chronicles. My last parting note that I want to leave with you is that I love Anubis. Every time Sadie describes him as like this boy with dark tousled hair, tousled, how do you pronounce that? With like a tight white shirt and a leather jacket, and I'm just like, I know I said in my Q&A that like, I'm not here for the bad boy trope kind of thing, but like, Anubis might be that exception. I'm sorry, it's late at night and I am delirious. Not even that late, it's only 12:30. I'm gonna go to sleep and probably start on the next book pretty immediately because I really just want to like finish them so that I can focus on other books that I want to read this month. So yeah, I will see you whenever I start that book. Okay, so I probably should have started this part of the vlog earlier, but I'm already halfway through the 3rd book. I didn't mean to do this before I vlogged. It was just yesterday I felt like I was flying through this book for some reason, which is really odd because in the beginning of this vlog, I'm pretty sure that I said, and I felt like it was taking me forever to read it. But anyway, I think I'm really liking this one, probably a lot more than the other 2, which is surprising, but I'm happy about it. Now that I'm reading this one, I can definitively say that Sadie Kane is my absolute favorite character in this entire series. She's funny, she's sarcastic, she is my girl, and I love her to death. She complains about the doomsday that's going to be coming, and then complains even more about her boy drama, and it is wonderful. So in this one right now, they are trying to stop Apophis from taking over the world and swallowing the sun and destroying Ra, the sun god. They're just trying to stop doomsday. They're trying to stop the end of the world. I feel like I'm reading the Umbrella Academy right now. It's the apocalypse. It's coming. But anyway, still very confused about what's gonna happen with Walt. Now there's this whole confusion on what's gonna happen with Zia. Is she gonna follow the path of Ra? Is she going to host Ra? Is that what's going to happen? Is she going to host Raw and then that's how? Does she like become Raw? I swear to God, if this girl, she cannot just get like a happy ending. She was like asleep in a tomb in the first book and we didn't even know it. And in the second book, she was released from the tomb halfway through the book, but then she was confused as to who she was and what was going on. And now in this book, she has like some other fate. I swear to God, if that is what happens, I'm gonna be so mad. I'm gonna be so mad. She deserves so much better than that, okay? I really hope that doesn't happen. I really love the Brooklyn house still and like all of the little kids that are there. Felix is my man. Felix is so cute. He just like goes into battle and he summons penguins and he's adorable. And then when those penguins are destroyed because they probably can't fight very well, he just is done with the fight. He doesn't want any more of it. And I'm like, dude, I feel that. And then of course there's the whole thing with Sadie and Anubis and Walt, and it's so great and it's giving me life. And I'm very confused right now as to what's happening with Walt and Anubis. Like, is he hosting Anubis right now? Is that what we're gonna find out? That by hosting Anubis he can like prolong his life a little bit or something? I don't know what's gonna happen. These are just all predictions, but I will get back to you when I've finished a little bit more of this book and have a couple of more answers. I knew that Walt had something to do with Anubis. I knew that it was coming. I knew that somehow, some way, they were gonna come together. You could just tell. But like, the moment came and I still was not ready for it. I literally felt like Sadie in that moment. I was like, no, 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 this can't be happening. I'm really glad that Walt is like still, I guess technically alive. Is it both of them working together in one body? Did Walt become Anubis's mortal form? Can Anubis still be himself, or is he just Walt now? I don't know. I'm sure that we'll get to it when Sadie stops having her mental breakdown, but the moment came and I still was not ready for it. What is happening? Okay, first thing before I start this part of the clip, ignore that I'm wearing a scarf inside. My sister decided she didn't want it. I decided I did want it. I took it from her and now I'm wearing it so that I don't have to go get a hanger to put it in my closet. Anyway, I wanted to point out something that's actually really annoying me in this story and something that I want to take back about what I said in the beginning of this vlog or throughout this vlog, and that is Carter. So you might remember a couple of times I said that I wish Carter had more big moments like Sadie, but now I take back everything that I said because Carter's just really pissing me off. I get that he's 15 and that like, yes, his first crush is like, ooh, yay, ooh, love her, like, ooh, true love this, like he's obsessed with it, right? But like, it's every single time Zia is mentioned or referred to, or he's in the same room as her, or something happens to her, like literally every time something happens with this girl, he just like forgets who he is, forgets where he is, and just like does the stupidest shit ever, and it is making me so mad. And that's all I have to say about that. So it's actually a couple days later since I finished the third book. I actually just got done filming a couple videos, so my mouth hurts from smiling so much. But gonna have to smile some more because we're gonna talk about the end of this book. So like I said, I finished this story and I really, really loved it. I flew through this one so quickly, and I still stand by what I said earlier in this video about Carter and how annoying he was to me. He was still very annoying. He was like, you know, always about Zia. As soon as something happened to Zia, he like was so useless in the entire thing. But I gotta say, Sadie is such a bad bitch. I love her. I don't think I would ever have said that in a vlog about anybody else, but I love Sadie. I think I talked about this earlier too, but the amount of times in this book where she was like, oh, the end of the world is so bad and everything, but my boy problems, oh my god. I do just have to say though, so the whole thing that happened with Walt, I knew that it was coming. I knew that he was following the path of Anubis, and I knew that at some point they were going to have to like merge together because Anubis kept talking about how he doesn't have a mortal form, and Walt was like, I'm gonna die, and they kept trying to tell Sadie something together, and she was like not listening to it. I knew that it was happening, but when it happened I was still kind of like, weirded out by it, I guess. I know I said in clips before that I love Anubis. I love that he's described as sort of like a bad boy type, but he clearly like cares for Sadie. It's a good contrast, right? Bad boy exterior, like soft inside, like it's great. I love it. But still kind of weirds me out that a 5,000-year-old dude is really into a 12-year-old. Granted, she did turn 13 in this story, but still. I forget about that for a little bit and I'm fine and it's great and it's just like Walt and her and you know, it's fine, it's cool, awesome, great. Then I think about Anubis and her and I'm like, why was I into this? It's honestly really creepy in a way when you really think about it. Like, think about like ACOTAR, like A Court of Thorns and Roses, and think about Rhys and Feyre and how Rhys is like thousands of years old or whatever and Feyre's like 19, whatever she is, and you're just like, this is kind of creepy, but like she's also an adult, so it's fine. This is a 12 turned 13-year-old girl with a 5,000-year-old god who in his defense, he does have like a teenage personality, I guess, but he's also 5,000 years old. So like, I don't know how to feel about this. But was I happy that she was able to be with both of them at once? Yes. Only in my dreams could I imagine that I had a crush on two boys and they both liked me back and I was having struggles between which one I would choose, and then, oh my god, it's magic. They both turned into one person and now I don't have to decide anymore? Like, what kind of a problem would that be to have? Like, what? I would love that to happen. I would love that to happen to me. Zia was great. I wish that she had more of a point in this story. For most of it, she was just like babysitting Ra and you didn't really get to see her very much until like closer to the end. So I kind of wish that she had more going on. And also Bess came back. I was so happy about that. The one thing that I do want to point out in this story though, that I'm still kind of like confused by, Sadie and Carter's mom. So at the end, she talks about how she still has like power of divination, which means she can see into the future. And she said that she sees a sort of like power imbalance or struggle between heroes and gods, but like different kinds of gods. I'm wondering if that was supposed to foreshadow something that happened in Heroes of Olympus, but like that didn't have anything to do with the Egyptian gods. So like, is there something else that's coming that I'm missing? This book was published in, wait for it, this book was published in 2012. I feel like if there was something else that was gonna happen with the Egyptian gods, he would have done it already, as in Rick Riordan. So I'm not really sure what she meant by that. Also, I know that the short stories that are at the end of these copies that I have, they were published like a couple of years later. And I'm pretty sure that this one that's in the back of this book is about Setne coming back, which he was like kind of like an open-ended question in this story because he disappeared and nobody knew what happened to him. So that would make sense if he came back in the short story and then they got rid of him. Was that supposed to mean the short story, what her mom said? Like, is there something else that's gonna happen with the Egyptian gods that Rick Riordan has been building to this entire time? Like, is every single one of these books, every single one of these characters, are they all gonna come together in one like big, massive, like conglomerate god book, and that's just gonna be the end? Like, can you imagine if that happened? Holy shit. But maybe one day we'll figure it out, or maybe we already did figure it out and I just am not thinking straight. But anyway, all in all, now that I finished the series, I really did enjoy it. I have not read all of the short stories at the end of these books yet. Now that I've read this book, and after I read The Trials of Apollo before the last one comes out, I think I honestly might make an updated how to read Rick Riordan's books, because I did not mention the Kane Chronicles in that, and I do think that they actually have a place in the universe if you are interested in reading them and Percy Jackson at the same time. Anyway, okay, this is the longest clip in this entire vlog, so I'm gonna go so that I can start editing this and get this up in a timely manner. If you guys have read the Kane Chronicles, let me know where they stand in relation to how you feel about Percy Jackson's books as a whole. Rick Riordan's books as a whole. But otherwise, that's gonna be it for this video. If you wanna follow me on any of my socials, all the links are in the description below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch you later. Bye!